Good morning and welcome, dear friends. Welcome to our spiritual home, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs. My name is Steve Bolton, and I am serving as our worship associate today. This is my first time being up here, so I hope you will be patient, even tolerance, while I go through this. For those who are visually impaired, I am a 76-year-old man with glasses, 5'10", poor posture, and of Northern European descent. I have on slacks and a shirt, and I think a blue-green sport coat. I have no idea if they match. My wife is not here today, so for the benefit of the hearing impaired, two suggestions I might have. Number one is that anyone who comes forward to speak in the microphone would hold the mic close so that it can help in those that are hearing impaired. And the second thing is that for those who are not aware, clarity of diction is as important as volume. And so, for example, if you say to someone, "Did you eat?" Or you could say, "Did you eat?" The second one is so much easier and more helpful. Same message, but so much easier to understand. So thank you. We want to acknowledge that here at the church, we are standing on the lands of the Tocobaga and the Seminole peoples. We offer a warm welcome to the guests that are here with us today. We would like to get to know you better and hope that you will join us following the service for coffee and refreshments so that we can do so. Our mission statement asserts that we are a liberal faith community of all ages, promoting spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. Today, our minister, Pastor Patti Hanks, will be leading the service entitled, "On How Nature Repairs Us," brought to you by her backyard snake. And Patti, I just, for my own benefit, did you bring the sponsor of the sermon with you today? Okay, that's a relief. Our music today is provided by our music director, Bonnie Whitehurst, and our choir. Thank you for your contribution. And again, a warm welcome to our service. Our opening hymn, 391 in the gray hymnal, "Voice Still and Small."
Good morning. I'm Pastor Patti Hanks. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a white woman. I have shoulder-length brown-gray hair and brown glasses. I'm wearing a cream-colored blouse and a green stole that has green vines appliqued on it, fitting for our service about our connection with nature. I add my welcome to Jean's and Steve's and affirm that all of who you are is sacred, and all of who you are is welcome here at Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs. Y'all, it has been a rough stretch. I have watched and experienced with you 2 very scary, destructive hurricanes, and just on the heels of those, an upending election that many of you have described to me as feeling gutted. What I'm sure of is that we will need what Barbara Mellon posted on our church's Facebook page, I hope you follow us, from the prophetic voice of Bell Hooks. Hooks said, "One of the most vital ways we sustain ourselves is by building communities of resistance, places where we know we are not alone." And I will add the words from another social activist, Grace Lee Boggs. She said, "Building community is to the collective as spiritual practice is to the individual." Right? That resonates with me. Building community as a collective spiritual practice. In the days and months and years ahead, we will need to come together with fierce love to support each other and protect the most vulnerable of us. Amen. We will need to tend to our compassion for ourselves and others, what Elaine and Mark talked about last week. Each of us will need to spend the time it takes to discover what the voice, still and small, or big and loud, within us is saying and singing. Where do you turn and where do you go to seek clarity, intuition, and guidance? Mary Oliver, who's been called the patron saint of all poets and UUism, manages always to capture nature as an important teacher, and this is what she wrote. This is a new poem to me. It's called Mindful. Every day I see or hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It was what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the drab, the daily presentations. I love this. Oh, good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these? The untrimmable light of the world, the ocean's shine, the prayers that are made out of grass.
It occurs to me that I didn't ring the bell in the beginning, so I'm going to do that now. We light this chalice with these words from the Reverend Maureen Killeran. Welcome, who come in need of healing. You who are confused or have been betrayed, welcome with your problems and your pain. Welcome to your joys and your wonderings. Welcome your need to hope, your longing for assurance. Instead of answers, Here may you find safety to your questions. Instead of promises, may you find community for your struggles. People with hands and hearts to join you in engaging the challenges and changes of our day. We are a church without a creed, but instead a covenant to which we agree. Will you join me in reading the covenant? We strive to look for and encourage the best in each other as we move towards justice, peace, and love for both ourselves and the world. And when we fall short, we will seek understanding, reconciliation, and a return to covenant. And now, hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Today, Diana Rife is coming up to help us sing the song with sign language.
So my original idea for our story this morning was to read Gail Boss's beautiful description of how the painted turtle enters deep stillness and then warms and moves again. And I was going to let the children and youth sort of sketch out the turtle and whatever they were feeling while the story was being read. And then I thought, wait a second, this is the story for all ages. So let's all sketch. So Teresa Marin White, who's a new member of our congregation, and her son Stuart and Everett are passing around sketch cards and pencils for everyone who'd like to join in. You can return any extra papers and pencils in the basket outside on your way to coffee hour. So, I also want to point out that Karen Strobing and Bill Luxinger are neighborhood resident artists who have created so many lovely art pieces that hang in our building and provide our beautiful sunflowers for our sanctuary, are here today. They came over on a Thursday after the election, and Bill walked me around and showed me all the pieces. And if you have not taken the time to go and see all, it's just unbelievably beautiful. And we're so fortunate to have you, and thank you so much. So our story is titled Advent 1, Painted Turtle. It's from a book called All Creation Waits by Gail Boss, which includes 25 true animal stories, one for each day of Advent, showing the ways deep mystery unfolds in nature. So on the screen is a photo of the painted turtle, and it's one of 25 original woodcuts by the illustrator David G. Klein. So Jami Cruz, our congregation's youth formation director, is going to read the story about the turtle, the amazing turtle, and you can sketch away. And if you want to, you can leave your little artworks out on the table in coffee hour, or keep them to yourselves. Let's see, right there it is. There.
Good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be able to come up here every now and then and get to see everyone. When I'm sitting down, I'm looking at everyone over here. When I'm up here, I can see everyone else. So it's a pleasure to always be able to read for you guys. All right. Story is Painted Turtle by Gail Boss. The day is bright and warm for December 1, but the logs in the marsh pond are bare. Spring to summer into early fall they served on sunny days as a spa to a dozen or so painted turtles. Basking, splay-legged, they would stretch their leathery necks out full length, avid for every luscious atom of sunlight and sun warmth. Out of sight now, they've not escaped the harsher cold that's coming. The water is maybe waist deep in this pond, but a murky soup clogged with roots and plants. One day in the fall, as water and air cooled, at some precise temperature, an ancient bell sounded in the turtle brain. A signal, take a deep breath. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath. Each creature slipped off of her log and swam for the warmer muck bottom. Stroking her way through the woven walls of the plant stems, she found her bottom place. She closed her eyes and dug into the mud. She buried herself. And then pulled into her shell, encased in darkness, she settled into a deep stillness. Her heart slowed and slowed, almost to stopping. Her body temperature dropped and stopped just short of freezing. Now, beneath a layer of mud, beneath the weight of frigid water and its skin of ice and skim of snow, everything in her has gone so still she doesn't need to breathe. And anyway, the iced-over pond will soon be empty of oxygen. Sunk in its bottom mud for 6 months, she will not draw air into her lungs. To survive a cold that would kill her or slow her so that predators would kill her, she slows herself beyond breath in a place where breath is not possible, and waits. As ice locks in the marsh and howling squalls batter its reed and brush, beneath it all she waits. It is her one work, and it is not easy. Oxygen depletion stresses every particle of her. Lactic acid pools in her bloodstream. Her muscles begin to burn, heart muscle too, a deadly sign. That acid has to be neutralized, and calcium is the compound to do it. Out of her bones, then out of her shell, her body pulls calcium, slowly dissolving her structure, her shape, her strength. But to move, to escape, requiring breath in a place where there is no oxygen, that would suffocate her. So, though she is dissolving, every stress particle of her stays focused on the silver bead of utter quietude. It's this radical simplicity that will save her. And deep within, at the heart of the stillness, something she has no need to name, but something we might call trust, that one day the world will, yes, warm again, and with it, her life. Now it's time for my kiddos to come on so we can go over to our area.
Everywhere
We come now to the time in our service when we gather an offering for the good of the church. Ours is an independent congregation which must sustain itself financially. You have 3 opportunities to participate financially. You may place your offering in the plate as it comes around, or you may mail it to the church at 57 Reed Street, Tarpon Springs, Florida, 34689. Or you may also visit our website, uutarpon.org, and click on the donate button. Also, this is an opportunity for you to fill out a visitor's card. It's a larger card that you'll find in the pew in front of you so that we may contact you. That's the bigger of the 2 cards. The smaller card, for all of us, where you may write any joy or sorrow or concern that you have and would like to have read from up front later. You may place these cards in the offering plate as well. Additionally, you will also have the opportunity to speak yourself in any joy or concern later if you wish.
When you get in trouble and you don't know right from wrong, give a little whistle, give a little whistle. When you meet temptation and the urge is very strong, give a little whistle, give a little whistle. Not just a little squeak, pucker up and go. And if your whistle sweet, yell, Jiminy Cricket. Take the straight and narrow path, and if you start to slide, give a little whistle, give a little whistle. And always let your conscience be your guide. Not just a little pucker up and go. And if your whistle's sweet, yeah, Jiminy Cricket. Take the straight and narrow path, and if you start to slide, give a little whistle, give a little whistle. And always let your conscience be your guide. And always let your conscience be your guide.
So thank you for that song about the little cricket, Jiminy, who is the conscience to Pinocchio that was given in the Disney movie, I think, by the Blue Fairy, right? I don't know if that's the real story. So let's just take a few moments to quiet ourselves, to breathe, and to listen to our own thoughts and our heart. Maybe if we quiet ourselves, we'll hear something outside, a cricket, a bird, the breeze in the trees, our fountain. Let's just take a moment. So here's my sermon brought to you by my backyard snake. So I grew up in Southern California in the foothills of Pomona Valley. When we didn't have chores and we got to go have some free time outside, my friends and I climbed up the brush, into the brush and the cactus. We built forts and we filled them with collections of feathers and snake skins and rocks. And it's so cool that this weekend, Lizzie, who's a member of our congregation, posted a photo of a rock on her Facebook page, and it said, "No one ever offers to share a cool rock they've discovered anymore with me. Adulthood can be so dumb." And I think people brought you rocks. There you go. There you go. I love that. Adulthood can be so dumb. Anyway, back to my foothills. When the cactus apples were red and ripe, we brought forks and jars and sugar from our houses up to the fort and we made jam. And then we brought them back and put them on toast. And we cut our mouths with prickers, that was in the jam. My parents were like, "Oh, this is delicious." I remember looking out over the valley and thinking, I am connected to everything. I felt small, and at the same time, I felt big. Maybe you've had that feeling in nature, where you feel so small, yet connected to something so big and grand. Lou and I were talking about the supermoon. This moon that's just close to the earth almost as it gets. It just makes you so small and also so big. So beautiful. And when I was trying to figure things out or felt upset, like I am right now about a lot of things, and I did a lot of worrying as a small child for my mother who was very ill, I would climb into the foothills. And starting about middle school age, I went less to the hills, partly because they kept building houses further and further up the hills. And so we had less land to explore. And partly because I had other interests like drill team and boys, but mainly because I had a run-in with a snake. Our grandmother came to visit from Idaho, and we went hiking as a family. And we came upon a rattlesnake that was curled up in the middle of the trail. And as we approached, it started rattling, as rattlesnakes do. My grandmother screamed and climbed up to the top of a huge rock in heels. My dad determined that the group would move slowly around the snake and keep hiking. And I wanted to turn screaming and run home. He said I was being ridiculous, and he pushed me forward. It took me many years to understand that the fear from that day resulted in me having a breakup with nature. Gradually, I stopped going in or near bodies of water where there could be a snake. I stopped hiking, except in highly manicured parks that had very wide paved tracks. I opted for lawns instead of wild places. And when I did yard work, I mostly did it in beds that were very close to the door or in pots. And then one day, several years ago, I met a snake in my backyard. But first, I heard about it. My husband and I were talking with our neighbor, and they asked if we had seen the little black snake that traveled around in our neighborhood. And I said with great confidence, "Nope." Luckily, we have a dog, and I'm sure that keeps the snake from ever coming in our yard. And I caught a look on my husband's face. And I said, "Have you seen a snake in our yard?" And he did not want to tell me. He assured me that it was only a couple of times, and that it quickly slipped under the fence, and when it saw him, because of course we know snakes are more afraid of you than they are, whatever. So, thus, my urban backyard that I love so much became nature. I did less and less in my yard. I stopped carrying trash through the back gate and into the alley. I spent more time in the house. I watched for snakes constantly. This is me being real vulnerable, y'all. I also tried to reason my way out of it. I talked with people who liked snakes. Who knew the difference between different kinds of snakes and how they're striped, and orange and black and yellow means. And they told me everything there is to know about why it's such a good thing to have a black snake in your backyard. And then one day I saw it. It was moving across the pavers towards the fence. I thought, we'll have to move. I called my sisters on the phone and they said, I think you're going to have to move. I told my husband I thought we were going to have to move. And then I saw the snake again. I jumped. It stopped. I stopped. We looked at each other. I wept. And I knew deep in my soul that I needed to live peacefully with the snake and get back into nature. And my daughter, who is a child psychologist and a really wise soul, helped me find a person who specialized in, you know what, Lizzie? Exposure therapy. They give you like a little thing and it has 1 through 10, and number 1 is, I'm okay, I'm fine. Number 10 is like, ah! And so I would have to, I did this whole process. And I go, I'm a 9, I'm a 9, I'm a 7, I'm a 6, and you just have to do this. So anyway, I did this for a year. And a year-long story short, I eventually held a little black snake, and I looked into its cute little face. And the healing it has brought into my life is one of the most deeply spiritual things that I have ever experienced. The work the snake and I did, granted, I can't say the snake knew we were working on it together, but maybe, right? Maybe. I doubt it. It repaired my relationship with nature, and my repair with nature connected me to feeling more embraced and integrated as part of the interconnected web of existence, which is one of our UU values. So Ursula Goodenough, hang on. Oh, I hope some of you know about Ursula Goodenough. So Ursula Goodenough is a biologist and a spiritual naturalist. She calls the connection we feel in nature horizontal transcendence. She said, it is the experience of participation, attunement, and delight with the immediate, ongoing, and unpredictable. Goodenough, in her book, The Sacred Depths of Nature, writes that most of us in religious settings are taught that transcendence is usually configured vertically. Something you get looking skyward, which could be the moon, okay, to something or to someone that supersedes the material world. For me, vertical transcendence was a Father God only, who would tell a Holy Ghost, and in my faith tradition, even the Holy Ghost was a he, and the Holy Ghost could whisper to you, if you were righteous, what you should do next. Horizontal transcendence whispers to me that the universe and all of our relationships with each other feels like divinity itself. What I know for sure, whatever else there is, and whatever comes next, is that the earth is our home, and our work is here, which makes this, to me, holy ground. I like what religious naturalist Bernard Loomer wrote in his paper entitled The Size of God. He proposes that the world is the source and preserver of meaning because the creative advance of the world in its adventure gives us the causes we serve. He calls it holy ground. He said, and if the world is holy ground, which he says, I think it is, then its holiness generates an ethic that calls us to question every sacred norm and transform all we can into justice and compassion. Maybe like me, you go to nature at times when you're feeling exhausted with human behavior and human decisions to seek repair and healing. In nature, we find models and ideas for new ways forward. I'm going to tell you a couple that I really love. Sometimes we go down into the water and into the mud for stillness and wait to reemerge. Some of us are doing that right now. We're not sure what we're doing next, but we're digging in, like the painted turtle in our story. I'm inspired by what geese teach us about organizing and taking care of each other. Adrienne Marine Brown wrote in her book, Emergent Strategies, that when Canadian geese are migrating, and they have a long way to go, they take turns flying at the front of the V, where it takes more energy. They take turns so that everyone sometimes gets to be a follower and a rester. And when a goose is injured or too tired to fly, 2 geese will land with it and stay until it's healed or it dies. And then they catch up with the flock. Flocking is fundamentally about decentralizing the effort for safety and trusting leadership to come from any edge of the flock. It's a model for shared ministry that we practice at this church. So many things birds teach us. Terry Tempest Williams wrote in her book, When Women Were Birds, about witnessing the desperate cries and squawks of nestling parents when baby birds were taken from the nest. She wrote about how the parents flew helplessly in circles in the clearing over the nest, and how into the glade fluttered small birds of 6 varieties drawn by the anguish of the parents. And they landed on the branches, and they squawked until the parents started to sing. And only then did they switch to singing. A beautiful model for how we help in times of grief. And then there's just the delight and surprise of nature, what it sometimes just gives us out of the blue of pure joy. When my mom passed away and I was dreadfully sad to my bones, I walked out of church on a Sunday morning and crossed the street on the side of our building to go to my car. And right in front of me, 4 ibis, who are now my favorite birds, perfectly recreated the Beatles album cover of Abbey Road. I think there's a picture of it. Is there? I think maybe. The next picture is, so there's the, it's not there? Oh, okay. So anyway, you remember Abbey Road, the 4 guy, okay. And the ibis, oh yeah, okay, so there's Abbey Road. And then the next picture is what the ibis did, for real. I took that on my camera. And when I showed it to my husband, he goes, "Which one's Paul?" Oh. On such a sad day, on such an impossibly sad day, this is what nature did, right? So may we notice our sacred connection with nature, and may it help to center us and inspire us. May we notice the horizontal transcendence between each other and the ibis, and our big moon, and turtles, and birds, and snakes. Thanks so much.
At this time, we will be singing number 188 in the Gray Book, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. And it is in a round, and we'll sing it all together one time. And then we'll break out into 3 parts. The front row will sing first, the back row will sing second, and then I will be a 3rd part. And you may join in on whichever part you would like to sing. But in a round, you only sing it through 3 times. The time that we sing all together, plus 2 additional times. That's what you do in a round. I'll play it through once. And everyone together all at once. Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. 2 additional times.
Come, whoever you are, conqueror, worshiper, lover, Yahweh. Causes no count, whoever you were,
Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Wanderer, yet again lover of leaving, causes no count, whoever you were. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
Some closing words from John O'Donohue. May you know tender shelter and healing blessing when you are called to stand in the place of pain. May the places of darkness within you be surprised by light. May memory bless and shelter you with the hard-earned light of past turmoil, to remind you that you have survived before, and though the darkness is now deep, you will soon see approaching light.
Our final hymn is number 118 in your gray book, This Little Light of Mine, 118.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it
We hope you have found meaning in today's service. We close with these words from L.R. Nost. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally, extravagantly. The broken world awaits in darkness for the light that is you.